So, welcome to Love and the Planets, and this is the week of July 30th, and I am Margaret Gray in Dublin, Ireland.
And I'm Armand Diaz in Light and Shadow on Long Island, New York. And Light and Shadow seems about right for the mood.
Yes, indeed. Now, after, major eclipse last week, of course, we're now over the halfway mark and into the pre-third eclipse time, which kind of feels maybe like the last bit of a marathon race or something. So if we're not too exhausted, we've got some interesting things on our plate this week. We start, of course, with the moon in Pisces. So the beginning of the week is kind of dreamy, maybe a little emotional, maybe recuperating from the eclipse. And Wednesday, midweek, of course, we have the second Mars-Uranus square. So that's really the keynote of the week, don't you think?
I think so. The eclipse energy of last week is carried forward, and it is more explosive now with Mars as Mars squares Uranus. And Uranus is stationing to go direct. That's another thing. So Uranus is very powerful. Mars is very powerful, sitting on the south node. So I feel that this is a very sort of explosive type of energy. It continues that sort of full moon explosiveness that we saw last week.
Yes, there's a volatility to it, isn't there? And I think, whenever those energies really are, when there's a lot of volatility, relationships find it difficult because relationships really thrive with some balance and ideally kind of, a kind of ease and comfort with each other. Now, there's two important dates, I think, to keep in mind with this, which was the first square, 17th, 18th of May. So this will be a revisiting, of course, because Mars is retrograde this time. And then we have the final square, which is the 16th to the 19th of September. Now, that's very important because to me, the final square is really a resolution of what came up in the first square. So I'd suggest, look at what was going on in your relationships during that first square.
You know what's great, and with Mercury now retrograde, this should be easy to do. We have a real good paper trail of things nowadays because we can look back at our text messages and our emails, and probably especially the text messages, and we can really see what was going on at that time. And so it is a little bit easier, I think, than just sort of like, well, what was happening in mid-May. So that is a good strategy. I think that, the issue presents itself in May. It kind of comes to a head now. This is probably the most volatile point in time, and then it hits that resolution, as you said, in September. So this is the biggie, I think. Margaret, what you said though about, and this is because our forecasts lately have been less than sunny, but the thing is, when the celestial energy is high, there's a lot of volatility, and it's not that something terrible is going to happen in relationships, something bad's going to happen. It's just that everybody gets charged up, and that's just harder to handle. You get a little, it's like a very hot day, it's hot and humid, and the least little thing of somebody pushing the shopping cart into you in the parking lot is liable to get you to explode. You have to be very careful that you don't do this with your partner.
Yes, and really just to just engage with whatever skills we have to kind of try and keep the peace a little bit more and kind of go gently, as you say. Now, there's another transit coming up. Of course, there's Mars sextile Chiron towards the end of the week as well. So potentially, the sextile is not an unpleasant aspect. So that might offer a little bit of healing if anything did come up or did explode. And also, just to mention one other thing with the Mars-Uranus square is it's a very good time to take action. So, if there's something in the relationship that's been put on the long finger for a while, this is really a good time to do it. Even things like maybe during decoration in the house or, whatever, but just doing something, both individually and together as a couple.
Well, what about as we get towards the weekend? We have the Taurus moon. It sounds like that would be nice.
It might be aside from, Mercury is quincunx Pluto and Mercury is retrograde. So really a little bit of caution, because it might be that we're struggling to find the words. And when we do find the words, they might come out a little more powerfully than we really want them to come out. However, it's a good time to kind of revise, review. We always say with Mercury retrograde, look back on what the truth is. What is each person's truth? And then really kind of give some attention to that.
We don't have many planets in air these days. Really, retrograde Mars is just about it most of the time. Sometimes the moon helps out. We don't have a lot of planets in air, and that's really tough for getting perspective. And then we have something like the retrograde Mercury, quincunx Pluto, and I think you're so right. A misunderstanding, the words get blocked in some way. It's just not flowing quite so much. Might be better to use the Taurus moon and, go get your lover an ice cream cone as opposed to trying to explain things.
That sounds a bit better. And speaking of Mercury retrograde, of course, as soon as it's direct, don't forget to book our 1-year online course in relationship astrology. If you'd like to find out, what are the tools that you can use for yourself to understand your own relationships. And of course, you're going to be coming to Dublin in September, Armand. So we'll be doing some work together on compatibility at a workshop. And also we'll be able to do a recording live from Dublin together.
Very much looking forward to it, especially in the short run, Dublin, looking very much forward to that.
Yes, and by then, a lot of these challenging aspects will have eased off a bit. So hang in there, everyone. We are kind of in the last bit of these eclipse challenges, and it does get easier a little bit towards the end of August, beginning of September. See you next week, Armand.
I'll see you then, Margaret. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.